Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. All right, the water distiller is off for this part. I thought I might be able to break this up into two parts, but in realistic fashion, this looks like it's going to be a three-parter, folks. Maybe four if things get real froggy, so just bear with me. All right. We are at our rares. So we're going to start off with Monsieur Mala. Now, Monsieur Mala is pretty okay. And the main reason we're going to look at Monsieur Mala is that he has, we bring out the best in each other. Willpower, when Monsieur Mala uses it and succeeds, you may also remove an action token from an adjacent friendly character he shares a keyword with. Now, this is important because it functionally gives you a ghetto leadership. Okay, so if you're able to manipulate your willpower roll with the Green Lantern ring or with, let's just say, a Super Soldier Serum, you are helping yourself. Okay, you are helping yourself, and you are doing yourself a great service because now you functionally have a 50-50 leadership, which is pretty good. Now you're not getting the plus actions, but you are taking the action token off. So that's your key thing. Then he has charge, leap, climb, running shot. So you're either able to get up in there or shoot. More than likely, you're going to be shooting. So all in all, I think this is a decent 60-point piece. All right, next up is Prime Beast Boy. Now, Prime Beast Boy, I'm going to say him at 30 for one main reason. We are looking at this figure as a gateway figure. This is a figure that's going to get other figures onto other theme teams. So what he has is Law of the Jungle, baby. When establishing theme teams, characters on your starting force with animal keyword gain the Teen Titans keyword. All right, so this is why when we look back at all our Teen Titans buffing, some of this is important. Some of it is not. Now, I know some people are going to say, but wild card, Dark Logos, then the wild card, the Teen Titans, and then all of a sudden I get, all these other cool things added unto me. And the answer is no. You actually, when they put the symbol on the card, on your card, character card, you actually have to possess that symbol, not just use the team ability. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Not only that, he has outsiders, so that's something that is solid for everyone as well. He has the monkey bars are a gorilla's natural habitat. Charge, leap, climb once per turn when a friendly character that can use leap, climb is given a move action and moves 4 squares or less. After resolutions, they may make a close attack. Okay, so the great part is that he's giving all of your leap climb characters, including himself, functionally a 4-move charge. So a 4-move charge is not bad. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. Do you know how we gorillas choose our leaders? Leadership, when Beast Boy uses it and succeeds this turn, friendly characters that have the Teen Titans team ability may use it as free. All right, now, when we are able to use Teen Titans team ability as free, that's going to give us a lot of long-term leverage, okay? A lot of long-term leverage in terms of survivability, all right? And then we combine it with Robin, which allows us to heal for 2. We are actually gaining a lot of survivability, forcing our opponents to more burst down single targets, which isn't really impossible in the current meta. What we are doing is just allowing for a little bit more survivability. So Prime Beast Boy at 30, that's what I'm going to endorse. Next up is Sportsmaster. Now, some people might think, well, why would I endorse Sportsmaster? He sort of sucks, but bear with me. First off, he has improved targeting out of adjacency, so he's able to make ranged combat attacks out of adjacency. Next, he has Rally 5 opposing attack rolls. When Sportsman makes an attack, you may replace a die in the attack roll with one of his Rally dice. Now, this is really important to get his stats popping fresh when he does his attack rolls. But here's the other thing that is quite good. When we start looking at dangerous batting practice, incapacitate, when Sportsman uses it, he also deals normal damage to hit characters given an action token. Now, at first glance, this seems like stunning blow or what we normally been doing. And the answer to that is no, it's not. This power specifically gives you the ability, when you use incapacitate, you also can deal damage as normal. Just period. So that means that you can have your damage increased, period. Okay? So you can be divvying out 6 damage and a token if they would take a token. Don't sleep on this. This power is probably one that's been overlooked by a few individuals. All right, next is a legally defensive shift, toughness. Free, choose one of Sportsmaster's choose one for Sportsmaster to use until your next turn. Combat reflexes or energy shield deflection. I'm questionable. I'm sort of indifferent on this one. All right, so yep, there's Sportsmaster. Next up is Deathstroke. My viewpoint is that you're going to see Deathstroke at 50. You just are, but Deathstroke at 150 and also at 100 is quite sturdy and can be very, very disruptive. But for our purposes, we're going to look at Deathstroke at 50. Improved movement characters. This is our first key advantage that we are looking at. Next, he is a wild card. Yes, I know, like, ooh, wild card, but yeah, that's going to help. Then we have the Ditronium Crystal, the perfect plot device. When establishing theme teams, you may choose up to 2 characters on your starting force with the Justice League or Teen Titans keywords that are each less than or equal to Deathstroke's point value. The chosen characters gain Deathstroke's keywords. Now, at 50, this is not as inclusive as you might want it. But at 100, it is a lot more inclusive, okay? And so at this point in time, you're able to bring a bunch of characters over into, potentially like, let's see, Assassin, Celebrity, Hive, and Justice League, Martial Artist, or Soldier. So that's really important. That's a really big bridge to bring, let's just say, a Superman, a Batman, a Green Lantern over to keywords where they're not usually seen. Okay, all because you have, Mr. Slade here. Sonic Burst Katanas. This is his big power that I feel is going to change the game. Blaze Claw's Fangs, knockback, Pulse Wave. When Deathstroke uses Pulse Wave and hits 2 or more opposing characters, you may instead roll a d6 and divide the damage equal to the results among all hit characters. That right there should be concerning because you can assign 0 damage. I want you to have that at the forefront of your mind. You can assign 0 damage. And you can just be like, I rolled a 5. You all are, I hit 6 people, but this one over here is taking 5. So that to me is really important going forward. That when we're looking at what Deathstroke can do, it's going to be rolling for Pulse Wave. And that's going to disrupt a lot of people. Setups is going to disrupt how a lot of people think. So, I just overall think that this figure is going to be disruptive to how we think. Because I can as easily, let's say I roll a 4. I hit 3 figures. I could just assign 2 damage to 2 figures and 0 to another. Do I have friendlies nearby? They just get assigned 0 damage. So this takes away a lot of the dangers of friendly pulse wave. Do you need to activate a character to get them to that next click or 2 clicks down? Exactly. You could assign, you could divide damage. Like, you just could. Your crit hit, I want to know what the ruling on that would be. Because would you be able to take like all of those bonuses and shift them to one character? Because that damage would be assigned. So how would that work out? So overall, like I said, I think that this is a figure that's going to change the state of the game. Everyone needs at least one. Don't be concerned that this figure in particular is going to be everywhere, because personally I do not believe that that's going to be the case. I think that you're going to see this figure show up in maybe your locals, but not so much in your competitive scene. And I think the main reason it won't show up in your competitive scene is that for his investment, he's not consistent, and everybody would want consistency. But if you're able to make the pulse wave consistent, also, if you're able to, for some reason, bring certain figures from one keyword over in to another keyword and it has the help you need, then you might see him being used. Next up is Peacemaker. Okay. And a lot of people will be looking again, thank you to yourselves, that Dark Logos is on that stuff. Why would he bring up Peacemaker? And it's realistically for his sideline active ability. So let's look at his sideline active first and then look at his other traits. Other trait and then the special power. Failure is not an option. Sideline active, when a friendly character of 40 points or more is KO'd, and you have 10 points or more total mission points after resolutions, you may generate Peacemaker on his red starting line from your on his red starting line from your sideline in that character's square. If Peacemaker started the game via this trait, when he uses probability control after resolutions, gain 1 mission point. So right there, that's pretty cool. So he can gain 1 mission point. His second trait is all about the mission. When you gain 1 or more mission point after resolutions, heal Peacemaker and a friendly character 1 click. This is awesome because he pretty much has a whole dial of prob. Okay, and whenever he uses it, whether for your turn or your opponent's turn, he's pretty much gaining a point a turn. And so that's pretty nice. And if you're already like making, let's just say 3 or 4 other points, using your own figures in a turn, then you're definitely going to be wrapping up the game in like 2 to 3 turns. Okay. I do what you do, but better. Probability control. When an opposing character within range uses probability control to target a friendly character of greater or equal points than themselves after resolutions, give the opposing character action token. I like this too because it's a very strong control. Definitely if you're running a bunch of weenies and if you're running like miss minutes and stuff like that, I think that can be really big. All right, so let's keep it to moving. Next up is Martian Manhunter, and I am torn. I am really torn because I like 75-point Martian Manhunter and I like 40-point Martian Manhunter. I think both are solid. But like if we look at 75-point Martian Manhunter, let's first start with that. He has the trait. First he has improved movement, blocking, and character, so he can just dip. Like, wherever he needs to go. They just said, screw giving him phasing. He just dips. Psychic Detective. You might as well call him Yu Yu Hakusho. When Martian Manhunter uses Outsider's team ability and targets an opposing character, that character can't be given free actions until your next turn. Congratulations, Scarlet Witch. You are very overpriced. And it sounds like I'm bullying on Scarlet Witch, and I'm really not. Hey, you know who we can really bully on? Sarkarian Iron Man. Because his days in the sun are functionally over for the most part. So anyway, like right there, no free actions for you. No sidestep. None of that. You know, no perplex. So I like this. It's a very solid trait, which allows you to shut down a lot of characters. Then he has Detective John Jones, Denver PD. Opposing characters can't target Martian Manhunter unless he has made an attack this game. At the beginning of your turn, you may deal Martian Manhunter 1 unavoidable damage. Now, in a world where there are ID cards, he is darn near broken. In the modern world, he is very good for guaranteeing that your mystery cards that involve Mystery Inc. Are successful. Okay, being able to guarantee a perplex and your opponents not being able to target him unless they get splash damage, or let's just say they get pulse wave. He gets pulse wave. So yeah. His team up is detective theme, which really, in my opinion, more emphasizes the whole look at me. I'm running, preparing for mystery cards. If Martian Manhunter is part of the listed theme team, detective, standard friendly characters that share a keyword with him have Outsider's team ability. Do you want to talk about force multiplication and how stupid that is? I'm just saying. Yeah, like, I bring in additional characters for reasons. Guess what? They get Outsiders too, as long as they're a standard character. So I personally do believe that this team up is stupid dumb and has great potential. So yeah, I am pro Martian Manhunter. So like next up is Prime Scarecrow, and I am for Prime Scarecrow for a couple of reasons. The first is his trait. Welcome to the Sinestro Corps. Perplex with Sinestro uses Perplex to target an opposing character. After resolutions, you may generate a hindering terrain marker in their square. All right, so you're giving him Sinestro Corps ring, so he's going to do a -2, and this -2 is really important. Because for one, you're giving them hindering terrain. So unless you're doing a melee attack, they're getting a +1. Not only that, we want to set up for his fear gas spreading trait. Fear spreading gas. Giant reach 3. Okay, so you're probably going to try to melee some people. All right. Poison. Okay, that's not useful for poison with your giant reach 3, but okay. Smoke cloud as free. All right, but we're already generating smoke cloud with our perplex, but only to generate 2 markers. Yeah. Free. Roll a d6 this turn. Scarecrow can use the listed effect, and when he does, it instead target all opposing characters that occupy one of his generated markers, regardless of range, adjacency, or line of fire. So, first, if you roll 1 through 3, you get an outwit, which is 5 4 through 6, you get mind control, which is ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Now, this figure is pretty much your first actor in your turn. Okay, it's your first actor in your turn. That's number one. Number two, this figure, realistically, in my opinion, no matter what, is doing something every turn. Between the perplex and the smoke cloud, he is able to either outwit or mind control every turn. He has willpower on his last dial, part of his dial. And special power says Avatar of Fear. Willpower / opposing characters within range using willpower only succeed on a 6. Now, this is great when you're dealing with your colossals, when you're dealing with you see murder in the city enduring, when you see somebody with a Green Lantern ring. This is not bad, but guess what? When you really need this, up front. So yeah, not too happy about that. All right, let's keep going. All right, next up is Brain. The Brain. Now, why is the Brain even on my list? Well, let's look at it. He has 7 range, mind control, 4 movement, 11 attack, 17 defense, and outwit. He has improved targeting characters. And this is this big one that I find the most useful. I form the Brotherhood of Evil. Leadership, once per turn for all characters with this trait, the Brain may be given a non-free action after being carried, but only if he shares a keyword with the character that carried him. Now, he is tiny, and he has Animal, Brotherhood of Evil, Scientist, Secret Society of Supervillains as well. So you're primarily teaming him up with Monsoon Mauler or Lockjaw. Just being 100. And he is, getting booped around, and he's mind controlling. That's it. He outwits, then mind controls, and then, he says to the rest of the peeps, I'm out. So the fact that he can move after being carried makes him, for all intents and purposes, have 0 to, I would make the argument, I think the highest move I've ever seen is 14. So he has 0 to 17 movement with a 7 range, which functionally gives him full map reach depending on his taxi. And if the taxi shares a keyword with him. So, yeah, this figure is good. Is it good in the typical sense in which people see good figures? The answer is no. This figure should be unique, and it's not. And that is a mistake on WizKid's part. 100%. 100%. So, for example, I could have a Lockjaw carry, I think 3 or 4 of these, and then just have a mind control chain go off. Mind control this character, boop, got it. Mind control that character again, got it, boop. Mind control this character for the 3rd time, got it. And I think mind control the character... No, I think Lockjaw is 3. And again, I have realms, I can look it up. And here we go. Lockjaw has Passenger 4. I was right. So you could carry 4 of those suckers. And there is very little your opponent can do. And I can launch another Lockjaw up and do it, bringing in another horde of brains. So, yeah. You find ways to give him more than one target. He is gold. All right. Let's keep it moving. Next up is Mr. Freeze. Now, why Mr. Freeze? He is benefiting from all those other uncommons and common Batman enemies. And so he's getting bonuses from them because he has Batman enemy team ability. But he also has improved targeting, destroys blocking, and he can shoot out of adjacency. He has a rally die for rally 2 friendly attack rolls. Barrier, when a friendly rolls a 2, he is able to do barrier, free Remove one of Mr. Freeze's rally dice to use barrier as free, but only generate 2 markers, which is a little bit weak, but that's okay. In the situation where you're able to, drop off 6 squares of barrier, that's not bad. He has freeze ray, knockback. When Mr. Freeze hits with a range attack, choose one. Hit characters are given an action token, or hit characters can't use speed powers until your next turn. I recommend hit characters can't use speed powers because it stops a lot of shenanigans right there. All right, next up is Killer Croc. And I am pro Killer Croc for a simple reason. He has the ability through his rally to create water terrain. So rally 2 on friendly attack rolls, remove one of Killer Croc's rally dice to generate a water terrain marker in his square. If you do, at the end of your turn, generate a water terrain marker in his square. Okay, so he's able to give himself some level of protection and then trigger off his special move, special movement power, which is you can't beat me in the sewers, flurry, charge, but do not have speed values if Killer Croc occupies water terrain. So he has a full 8 move charge, flurry, blades, battle fury. So yeah, he's about that fire, bringing it down on people's head with them blades. So yeah. All right, next up is Red X. Now personally, I believe Red X has a lot of potential. So first off, you have such a shame this evil wood burning pizza oven must be destroyed. At the beginning of the game, generate an evil pizza oven marker in a square within 3 squares of an opponent's starting area. Now again, it needs to be close to the opponent's starting area. It doesn't have to be in the opponent's starting area. I've heard people sort of talk about it like it has to be in the opponent's starting area. And when you're dealing with asymmetrical starting areas, that can be really, really big. A big deal. Okay? Next, you have characters within 2 squares have knockback. At the beginning of your turn, if there are more friendly standard characters than opposing... Oh, sorry, I sort of slipped. Sorry, characters within 2 squares have knockback. So that's just period. Friendly and opposing. At the beginning of your turn, if there are more friendly standard characters than opposing standard characters within 2 squares, gain 3 mission points. Now, this is one of those situations where you could, with a very nice taxi, get a whole bunch of characters up there and start doing the thing. From my perspective, this has some potential once you have figures that are able to generate standard characters. Okay? And so now, like, the force is in your favor. So, for example, let's say... while it's still legal, you have the Wonder Woman, when she gets leadership, she's able to generate an Amazon. Like, that's really useful for you to pump your numbers up. And so, so I also want to see something real quick, is that the pizza oven, if I am correct, no. So it's a marker. Yeah. I take that back. For right now, I can't endorse this figure. And the reason is because it's a marker, I believe that it can be overwritten. So, yeah, never mind. Just dump Red X. Never mind. All right, next up is Aquaman. Aquaman at 50. This is very big. And I know, again, some folks will be like, ooh, it's Aquaman. Yeah. So first is the king used the conch leadership. When Aquaman uses it and succeeds, after resolution, you may generate a water terrain marker in a square within range, or generate a tentacle marker max 8 in a square of water terrain within range. If 6 was rolled, you may generate both. Okay, so let's just say you get that 6 on leadership. You're like, yeah, let's go. My boys are back in town. And, you start going Call of Cthulhu on them. And the tentacle rises from the deep. All right, so that's pretty cool. So you're able to get some force multiplication. Then you have, at the beginning of the game, generate 7 water terrain markers anywhere on the map. So you can create permanent ones or not so permanent ones. Close combat expert. Empower. When Aquaman uses Empower, he may treat friendly characters with a dolphin movement symbol occupying water terrain as adjacent. Okay, so he's able to buff up your friendly tentacles so that they can do more damage. Okay. All right, I think that's it. I like 100-point Aquaman for fun purposes, but if I was really playing Justice League and I really needed him, I would be playing low-point Aquaman. All right, next up is Rare Wonder Woman. And we have a good starting off point. Not the best, but good. Hypersonic speed, 11 attack, 18D, and 2 damage. And this is where I was like, I wish it was 3. At least. In Close Combat Expert, you have Golden Lasso. When Wonder Woman hits after resolution, she may use Mind Control as free, but only to target a hit character. So, yeah, that to me is meh. It's meh, okay. Goddess of War, you have Blaze Claw's Fangs and Incapacitate, and you have Bracelets of Submission, Energy Shield Deflection, Invincible, and Super Senses. So again, like I said, I can only really endorse her at 75. I can't really endorse her at higher points because at 200, she's just too expensive. All right, next up is Sinestro. I will just immediately say you are going to be playing the Sinestro ring. Just do it. Next, you will fear me, knockback. Pulse wave. But each hit opposing character is dealt 2 damage instead of 1. So we get Iron Man at a cheaper point value. So yay for that. Leadership and Outwit, which is also a yay for that. All right. We'll keep it moving. Next up is we are in Super Rares. Super Rares. So just saying with the Super Rares, Sinestro was a Super Rare. Oh, I completely overlooked that. So I want to make a little statement before we go further in the Super Rares, since I unknowingly covered Sinestro. I am a little torn on the Super Rares, and I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious because there's some nuance in them that I would like to go over, but realistically, I don't think all of them are worth it. Okay, so let's go into Batman Prime. So yeah, because we're not looking at that Super Rare Batman because he sucks. All right, so let's look at Batman Prime. I think everyone just understands what he does. Being able to start with 2 pieces of equipment for free, just at Forest Construction, is ridiculous. Flock of Green Bats, Smoke Cloud, and he can do Smoke Cloud as free, but only to generate 1 marker. Opposing characters occupying or adjacent to Batman's Smoke Cloud markers can't use improved movement and must break away as if they were adjacent to Batman. That is pretty strong considering that you can get plasticity from the utility belt. Okay. So I want to just be like, yeah, this character is going to be nutso. He can free make constructs. He can just free make constructs. On top of that, carry a whole army and make himself stealth. So I understand why people will be saying like, oh, he's the best figure in the set, because to in all honesty, in terms of laying down the firepower, he is the best figure in the set. Okay, he just is. All right. Next, I'll point out is he says, "I am willpower, invincible willpower. When Batman uses willpower and succeeds after resolutions, modify his combat values by +1 until your next turn." Oh, I roll for willpower when I have a 50-50 willpower. Oh my gosh, my stats are now 13 attack, 19 defense, and 5 damage with the 8 range and a 6 running shot. And oh yeah, it just so happens that I'm able to generate the catcher's mitt, so I'm functionally a 21 defense from range. Good luck tapping me. And that's I think is one of the main reasons Outsiders came back, is because of situations like this. Is this figure toxic? No. Is this figure strong? Yes. And that's where I'm going to stand for right now. Next up is Saint Walker. I'm endorsing Saint Walker at 30 points because getting TK in power, and if he has his ring for 40 points, but realistically you're going to give him a Sinestro Core ring to give him Perplex. So now you have a figure that has Empower. When Saint Walker uses it, he may treat other friendly characters within range and line of fire as adjacent. He also has Enhancement, which you also can use. Then he has All Will Be Well. Attack rolls of 11 made by friendly characters within range are critical hits. If Saint Walker is at 60, which we're not really dealing with, attack rolls of 10 made by friendly characters within range are critical hits. That's all I got to say. Like, that right there, it puts too many teams on the map. Cosmic and Herald and Non-Theme gain a huge bonus for having Saint Walker. And it's like, oh, I have a Sinestro Core ring, so I also get... So you're telling me I get Perplex, I get Enhancement, and Enhancement at range in particular. And Empower at range, and Enhancement in TK? For 40 points, 30 points base, and then I add another 10 points for the Yellow Lantern ring. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. That sounds really good. And I know some of you would be like, with Dark Logos, I would run the blue ring so I could drop constructs for free. Well, I mean, sure. But he only has 3 clicks. This dude is dying fast. But by far, he's one of the best supports in the game. Like, I was drooling over Cypher for 20 points that gave me Empower and Enhancement. And this dude gives me for 10 more points TK. And he's able to make my 11s crit hits. So, yeah. All right. Next up is Indigo One. Indigo One. Indigo One is great because of her first trait, Tor Lok San. So it actually like Tor Lok San support. When Indigo One uses it, she may target a friendly character within range and line of fire. After resolutions, gain mission points equal to the number of clicks that were healed. This I do believe is sort of useful because you can always like X-Men or Titans heal and do a bunch of wank stuff because reasons. And then be like, hey, you're damaged there. Let's heal you. And all of a sudden, Bishop is back at top boys with a 12 attack. Spreading compassion across the galaxy, friendly bystanders within range can't use support. Friendly bystanders within range can use support. As I said, can't use support. Can use support. That is really, really good. Because all of a sudden, I can generate, let's just say, what's his name? Red Wing. I can generate Red Wing. And when I generate Red Wing, it can use support for my homies. So I really like that. Okay? I really like that. All right, let's keep going. Because I've had a great revelation that I'm going to sort of keep to myself for right now. If I can make it work, I might share it later. All right, next up is Fatality. And I am telling you to rock Fatality at 50. She's a side chick, not a main chick. I hate to say it like that. She is not a main chick. She might look good in the spandex and that spear. You know, she might be enthusiastically holding that spear. But buddy, that's a spear. That is not an analogy for any other object known to man. And we'll see why. And it's first off, she has improved targeting, hindering, which you really do need, like just period need. But she has all this charge and a 6 range. That's a no. You should have just gave her maybe 1 click of running shot. That would have been great. Or just give her hypersonic speed. For hearts long lost, when Fatality uses Mystic Sting ability after resolutions, modify her attack and defense by +1 until the end of your turn, which really doesn't matter, like being 100. Then nothing crueler than a lover spurned. Mind control, when Fatality uses it after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to each target missed by mind control. So if you find a way of dealing multi-target mind control, good for you, but probably more than likely you're not. Taste My Spear, Blaze Claws, Fangs, Precision Strike, Giant Reach 2. Again, you don't really need it. So you know what I'm gonna do? When I initially was putting her on my list, I saw maybe some cool potential with the Mystics and with the mind control of like, oh hey, perplex down her attack, try to mind control a character that is really high defense, miss, and then deal 1 penetrating damage to get that character off a stop or whatever. Now I'm just like, no, she's trash. We should just leave her alone. All right, next up is Wonder Woman, number 53A. All right, so why are we looking at Wonder Woman? I actually believe at 100 points, this chick is actually pretty playable. I'm not saying she's top tier meta, but I do believe that she is playable. Okay, so first off, she has traded super senses. With Wonder Woman TA, so she's got 50 senses. When Wonder Woman uses it and succeeds, she can't be targeted by ranged attacks this turn. So, yeah, like that right there. Peace, by whatever means necessary, incapacitate. When an opposing character within range with 2 action tokens would be given an action token, after resolution, gain 1 mission point. Okay? So you are trying to token down your opponent's team and making sure that Wonder Woman is in range so you can rack up the mission points. The key part with her, which I feel is the biggest deal, she is not once per turn. Period. She just procs when tokens would be dished out. Okay? All right, next. Charge. Friendly characters that can use incapacitate can use charge. So she just divvies that out, like to all of her girls, saying, you get charge, you get charge, you get charge, because they have incapacitate. Okay? So that to me is also great for you to gain a ton of mission points really quickly. Next, what would you have me do? Or what would you do hoo-hoo for a Klondike bar? That too. Once per turn, when an opposing character within range and line of fire attacks a character of equal or more points than themselves, after resolutions, you may give the attacker an action token. Okay. That is important. That is very important. Because you can run a bunch of weenies and just make sure that you have very, very wide range and you are close up on your opponents and just start dropping tokens on people. All right, so that's why I do believe that she has the potential at 100 points to actually win games on mission points. Her and a Peacemaker on the sideline, maybe in a Watu, and I don't know what else, but I will just sit back and say I do think that this has some potential. All right, next up is my boy Cyborg, and I am looking at him at 50 points. And you may be wondering, why am I looking at him at 50 points? And the truth of the matter is, he does a couple of cool things. First off, he can still be very useful for your Titan mystery cards. Second, he has Perplex. And a lot of you might be saying, this isn't 2015 Dark Logos. 50-point attacker with Perplex, that's not enough. Like, you know, he has to do more than that. Okay, 18 defense with ESD. And I know some of you still aren't sold on that. And a 6 range is not that poppin' fresh. I get that too. Okay? It's not, you know, the nice drip that the kids like to wear nowadays. But there are 2 things that he does that are really, really, really good. Really good. And one of them, your opponent cannot take away from you. So, actually, I take that back. They could take it away from me because it's based off of willpower. So, first, he has improved targeting characters, which is useful. Next, he has power moves. I wish it was Booyah, because he says it all the time. Willpower, but succeeds on 4 through 6. So, guess what we're giving him? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving him a Green Lantern ring. Yes. When Cyborg uses it and succeeds, choose a standard attack power, and you may choose an adjacent friendly character. Cyborg and the chosen character can use the chosen power this turn. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? All of a sudden, Cyclops has energy explosion and precision strike. Guess what, everyone? All of a sudden, my Thanos has precision strike with his mind control. Guess what, everyone? All of a sudden, my character, my Green Goblin, not only has energy explosion but also has psychic blast. Guess what, everyone? My charge flurry Blades of Death Raven now also has steel energy. Just process that. The other issue that we gotta to be thinking about as well, when we're talking about all of this, is we're looking at a situation where if he is successful, he is keeping his tokens cleared off pretty frequently. And I wish he had Detective, because he would have been a perfect candidate for Murder in the City Enduring. But unfortunately, he doesn't qualify. But for all your Teen Titans mystery cards, he is gold. And I know some of you would say, well, Dark Logos, if he's so gold, why aren't you running him at 75, where he has, you know, better attack and you're getting more clicks of life? And I thought about that. I really did. And it's really hard not to endorse him at 75 points. But the truth of the matter is, having that Perplex is just way more useful than having the Outwit in this current game. I'm just being honest. So yeah, Like that's just how I see it. All right. Next up, I know some of you would say, you're going to talk about Darkseid, aren't you? And I'm going to be like, I played him in my sealed. I raffle stomped with him in my sealed. But I do not think that he is competitive. At this point in time, I do not think he is competitive. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go into the chases. Now, in the last video, I made a statement that the chases are broke. And I hold on to that. But like a very good plot twist, you're going to have to come back next time. All right. I'd like to thank you all for listening. Feel free to email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it pithy, keep it interesting, keep it Autobots, baby. And let me know what you think of my Batman review. I know I am late to the game, like ever, but I am having a bit of fun looking over the set and giving you guys my thought process. And also, I would like for you all, if you have come in on part 2, please go back and listen to part 1. That's it. I'd like to thank you for listening, and remember, I will see you in part 3.